we're leaving the mountains. And it's sad.
Change is inevitable. Change is essential for growth. For some, change comes slowly over time. For others, change frequently knocks on our door. In my life, change is constant, and I've grown used to it. As a child, I moved houses a lot, and growing up in the theater, one gets used to saying goodbye to cast members every few months. I frequently adapt to each new stage that I'm in, and it is this acceptance of change, this acceptance of the unknown that I've cultivated over the years, that change doesn't take me by surprise anymore. I move with life. I dance with life. I flow with the current instead of pushing against it. I let life guide me. One of the things that is changing for me and Alex right now is that we are leaving the mountains, a place that I have grown to love and call my home. There are many reasons why we are leaving, one of which, the house is much too big for us. And while our rent in the mountains is the same price as our rent in an apartment in the city, living rural was hard. It was cold in the winters and lonely in the village streets. Keeping the house warm was a constant struggle, and the spacious rooms always felt so empty. We knew we had to leave this house, but when we had to make the choice of where to move, leaving the mountains was what we ultimately decided to do. Living in the city, or even living in suburbia, is actually a lot simpler than living in the rural countryside. Ironically, things are less complicated and more simple living in a city. You don't need to actively work to keep your house warm. You have convenience. You don't need a car to get everywhere. Over time, I really grew to adore the mountains. I felt cradled and comforted by these sleeping giants. But loving someplace doesn't necessarily mean that you'll love living there. And no matter how frequently we move or change plans, I am always home when I'm with him. The most important thing in my life is us, our partnership. Wherever he is, I'm where I belong. He is my home. Living rural was isolating. We both love nature and the silence. And I'm sure that if we weren't living in a mountain village during a pandemic, it would have been a lot easier. But we realized how much we missed seeing people on the street. We missed convenience and simplicity. Because while living rural is simple in certain ways, keeping a large house warm in the winter makes things complicated. As introverts, we love being alone, but too much of anything can be difficult to maintain. Moving to the mountains felt like a drastic decision that was good for us at the time. It was something that I had always dreamed of doing, and I also got to live a dream of experiencing life in a big old house, a house with character, creaky wooden floorboards, and history.
At least we could have tried to finish the lease of the whole year, but
We
not
put
even
all this
possible.
time in painting and decorating, and we bought like all these like pictures and stuff, and it's just like, and it makes me realize I have got to stop buying decorations because I just keep moving, and it's like, why am I doing this to myself? Like my whole life, I'm always moving. I've always been moving since I was a kid, and it's like, when am I ever gonna learn?
We just gotta buy decorations that we can easily carry with
Like
us.
jewelry. Jewelry's nice. Jewelry you can buy.
Or like
It's very small.
like posters that you can tape, not framed, or you just
Not
have a few
framed,
frames.
yeah.
We have a lot of frames now.
And pillows.
Yeah, and pillows, which we don't need. We don't need all these pillows.
What I've learned and realized from all of this is you owe it to yourself to take a leap. You must leap and pursue what you've always dreamed of, because you'll never truly know what something is like unless you try. For so long in my life, I've dreamed of things, only to have had it and realized it wasn't what I actually wanted. Sometimes the dream of something is far more beautiful than reality. I don't look at my dream of living in the mountains as wasted time, because when you go after a dream, when you take a step instead of hesitating, you're that much closer to finding out. You're that much closer to finding out what you love and what you really want and desire out of life. Taking risks and making choices is all part of the magic of being alive. A lot has happened in the making of this video. Since packing up my boxes and packing up my suitcase, I've flown across the world to be with my mom. And until May, when we go back together to live in our little apartment on the sea, I'll be here, visiting my hometown and enjoying the beauty that is in the United States.
Like that?
That's the Alex face. It's like... I thought Alex and I would sit down and share with you what's going on for the next month, because it's going to be a little different around here.
Yeah.
We're not going to be in Corsica. No more mountain videos.
For a bit.
We are heading to California. It's hard to be separated when you're madly in love with someone, you know? When you've dedicated your life around them and you feel very harmonious and you're part of a team, you know, you become part of a unit.
Yeah.
It's not just me and you anymore, it's we, a team. And I used to reject that, and I used to be repulsed by that. In fact, I never thought I would ever get married.
Yeah, you're very anti. You're like, I'm
Anti-marriage.
I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be independent. All the single ladies. It's a great book, by the way, All the Single Ladies. It's one of my favorite feminist manifestos.
And now I make you all the sandwiches.
Yeah, and now he makes me all my sandwiches.
You clean all the things, and it's clean. I just don't know how it happens.
We've got a system going, you know? Life has just become so much easier together, and it's like when we separate ourselves, often because I want to go solo traveling, it's like we lose out of that rhythm, and it's like, yeah, we have Marco Polo. Marco Polo is a great app to stay in touch with your friends or loved ones, but like it's just not the same, you know?
Yeah.
You know, even when you're in a couple, even when you're in a relationship, finding the time to go off on your own.
Yeah.
We've been together 6 years, and every year I take a trip by myself, and it's intentional, it's planned. I'm like, I don't want you there. I know, he's always like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to us?
Do you not like my grilled cheese?
I know, and I'm like, no, it's not you, it's me. You know? For me, independence is so important. You know, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a couple, treat yourself to a little 1-week trip alone, where you can just be by yourself and write or think or do a hobby or a passion for you.
And if you can't, you know, if you've got family and you don't have the privilege of like just taking a week off from your family, because I get it, a day. Go for a day. Book a little inn. Get your tent. Go camping along a river for a night, 24 hours. And just spend time with yourself. Get to know yourself again. That's what makes our relationship so healthy and stable and secure, is because we are both our individual selves. We're individual, separate people that have decided to walk in life hand in hand. So it's like, yes, we're walking in hand through life together as one unit, but I'm still me and he's still him. We've got our separate dreams, our separate aspirations, our separate
favorite Disney rides.
Yeah. That's like the thing that really encourages me to take this trip, even though
it's scary.
It's scary. It's scary being apart from your partner, your teammate that you've become dependent on and you've just are madly in love with. You know, when you're so madly in love, the idea of being separated is excruciating. And I think when we become reliant on ourselves for our own personal happiness and our own inner joy, it's like you're off the hook. Your teammate's off the hook. So I kind of wanted to film this just to...
It'll be nice to watch when you're gone. And then you can send it to me and I can watch it.
Yeah. But it's still going to be hard.
Yeah.
While a big house in the mountains is dreamy to imagine, for just two people, for Alex and me, it was too much. As I'm growing older, I'm realizing more and more how little I really need. How I actually don't need as much space as I think I do. That I don't actually desire a big house in the mountains with lots of room and space, but I actually want less stuff, more freedom. And in our next space that we call home, we'll be living in a small, cozy apartment for two people, right on the sea, in a beautiful little village, with plenty of energy and life and people in the street. But most importantly, our new home has less space, but more freedom.